So I was scrolling through X recently, and I noticed somebody I talk to every now and again said something about the New York City subways being absolute hellholes, and the police don't do anything to protect anybody. And I responded to this. I said, "Ever take martial arts lessons?" She responded, "I should, but the fact remains that I, as a 5'2" woman, am unlikely to overpower a man in any scenario." And we're going to be talking about this today. I'm not trying to shame this girl, by the way. She's a really cool chick, but she said something that I have seen parroted by a lot of different people in a lot of different scenarios. And I want to talk a little bit about that. But first, she's not completely incorrect. Weight classes exist for a reason, and that is a fact. But I get upset when people say that because a lot of the time they don't actually know what that means for real. The reason why weight classes exist is because when you take two guys, one of them is 6'4", 260 pounds, the other one is 5'3", 135 pounds, or whatever a 5'3" guy would be, and you put them against each other, and they have had the same amount of training, chances are the bigger guy is going to beat the smaller guy. Am I saying it's going to be a 100% win rate? No. But the smart money is on the bigger guy. That's just the way that it is. When people say that, what they mean is specifically in the context of two trained people. When you have a smaller guy who is trained and a bigger guy who is untrained, the chances of the smaller guy winning increase drastically. And that's where you get all these examples of smaller guys at jiu-jitsu tournaments beating super heavyweights and stuff like that. Not all hope is lost just because you're a 5'2" woman. But what I specifically want to talk about is what she mentioned about overpowering. When we think of fighting, we tend to think of a winner and a loser. And I think there's a couple of reasons for this. One of them being the prevalence of combat sports in our society. And it's not something that we should always be doing, because when it comes down to it, you're not trying to beat the guy on the subway. You're not trying to win against the mentally ill dude who's threatening to kill people. Winning is getting away from that guy as quickly as possible. It's a matter of you trying to stay as safe as possible. And that means a bunch of different things depending on the situation. If I get knocked down and I can't get back up for whatever reason, me staying as safe as I possibly can in that situation is knowing how to cover up. And the best way to cover up is going to be taught to you by somebody who does martial arts. If you physically dominate somebody, that means they're not physically dominating you, which means you are staying safe. However, that may not always be the option. And because of that, you have to be able to fall back on all these other things. Outside of staying safe, you should also be trying to become more street smart. And that's something that a lot of MMA guys can help you with, because if I'm just being honest here, a lot of us have been in fights outside of the cage or the gym or any other place where it would be considered to be appropriate to fight. And we've learned a thing or two that we can help impart into you. And part of that street smarts is also recognizing that a lot of guys aren't going to think that a 5'2" woman is going to have any kind of fight in her. And because of that, you can catch him off guard. If you are absolutely positively going at someone suddenly before they realize what's happening and as hard as you can, it's not going to matter. You're going to be having the upper hand. So, I mean, there is a higher chance of you physically dominating somebody than you might even realize. I'm trying to get a little bit better at not rambling in my videos. So if I can just sum up everything that I'm telling you, if I could put it under one umbrella, I would say that fighting is complicated. Fighting is not something that can be boiled down to, oh, but I'm too small, or I'm too big, or I'm too fat, or I'm too skinny. You cannot boil fighting down to things that are just as simple as, but I have or I don't have, I am or I am not. So I used somebody's X post as an example, and I want it to be understood that I'm not trying to make an example out of this person or anything like that. That's why I didn't mention their name, but it was just something that I've seen parroted by a bunch of people, especially women, and I don't want them to walk around thinking that way, because there's really no reason for you to not train. It's good for you in other ways, but then on top of that, if you're that nervous about the New York subway or anywhere for that matter, then you got to do something about it. Pepper spray, stun guns, and other self-defense devices and things like that, yeah, those are good. Don't get me wrong. You should definitely carry them if you're allowed to. However, you need a layered approach if the problem is going to really be that bad. Because what about the day you forget to put it in your purse? What about the day it doesn't work for you? What about when you get ambushed and you're not able to actually pull the thing out? There's plenty of examples where those things do fail for whatever reason, whether it's user error or if it's some kind of malfunction on the part of the device. So I just want everybody to be as safe as possible. I don't like seeing anyone get hurt, especially not somebody that I think is cool. All right. And because of that, I made this video. So if you're watching, all right, mystery girl, if you're watching, I hope you enjoyed it. There's tons of gyms where you're at. All right, get into them, please. Do yourself a favor. And yeah, other than that, I hope everybody enjoyed this one. If you did, leave a like and also sub for more. Leave a comment down below if you have anything to say. I also have a Patreon, $5 a month for exclusive content and early access to videos just like this one. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, good luck out there.